Hey guys, it's me here on the camera. I know it's pretty crazy. You don't see that often. I've decided to do a different kind of video, this is more like an experiment kinda, testing out a new type of video. Never done anything like this before, but I really want to. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to be analyzing all 5 chapters of Fortnite, so that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not including the OG seasons, of course, so like Chapter 4 OG and the current Chapter 5 remix, not including those, because Chapter 4 OG, that was just going back to Chapter 1. That's not Chapter 4, that's just Chapter 1 again. And remix, even though it's different, it's still Chapter 2, so we're not counting that. We're looking at the actual chapter itself on the map that it took place on, So what I'm going to be doing is analyzing each one. I left like a space over here on my screen so I can put up like text and stuff like that. I guess we'll see if that works later in editing. But basically, we're going to do, for each chapter, I'm going to try and point to where I think each one should go with my finger. Let's see if this works. So we're going to go over like the seasons. Did it show up there? I hope it did. The map and the story. Hopefully, I probably got that in the wrong spots, but somewhere over here that should happen. And we're going to be rating each one of those out of 10, so it'll be a total of 30 points. And then we're going to go through each chapter one by one, and then just at the very end, we're going to line them up and see which one is the worst, which one's the best. So starting off with Chapter 1. This is the OG Fortnite, the prime of Fortnite. This is when everything was at its peak, as everyone likes to say, You had the original graphics and, the gameplay and all that fun stuff. So let's talk about it. So starting off with seasons 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go through these ones really quickly. I did not really play these seasons personally. I started playing season 4 of Chapter 1, like officially. I did play season 3, but that wasn't on like my own account, so I'm not really going to count that entirely. But so let's just go through these first few seasons. Season 1, solid season, I guess. I don't really know. It just had the basic stuff that Fortnite came out with. It was still kind of like janky as a game, but it was new, it was cool. Third-person shooter, all the bright colors, cartoony vibes, the fun weapons, items, the gameplay stuff, and of course building, which made it pretty unique, I think. Of course, no one knew how to do that back then, so it was all just fun in games, I suppose. None of that sweaty stuff that we've been seeing for the past like 5 years or so now, but all just fun times back then. Season 2, what does Season 2 do? I mean, nothing much really. Same thing with Season 3. Now, I know there were map changes throughout these seasons. I'm not talking about the map changes. I'm talking about more like the gameplay of the seasons itself. So, throughout these seasons, we got like consistent updates, adding in new items and weapons. Like, I remember the day when like the burst was added. Well, no, not the burst, like the upgraded version of the burst, like the purple legendary is called like the FAMAS or the FAMAS or whatever. That was originally called. I think it was, because the burst looked different. And then you got like your what else do we get? Oh yeah, like the bush item. There was the hunting rifle. Those are impulse grenades, I think, was definitely one of them. Just listing off some random items. Pretty sure the boogie bomb came out during this time period as well. So the game just consistently was updated with new items and stuff like that kept the game like really fun, fresh, unique. It was constantly updating, which is pretty unique for its time period, honestly, So yeah, the first 3 seasons, pretty good gameplay, was consistently improving. Then season 4 is where we hit a change, because now they start doing like bigger stuff with the season. This is not just new items and stuff anymore. It's now like more focused on gameplay and things like that. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, going back to season 3 a bit, I think they started doing LTMs during that time. Like, that's when we had like the 50v50 mode, and I think there's like the blitz mode as well, which is just like a quicker, like a faster paced version, I think. So, yeah, so they did start to do some LTMs during that time. Season 4 really kicked that in, starting it off with the like Infinity War LTM where you could become Thanos. That was pretty crazy. Anyone else remember that one? I remember playing it. I'm not sure I ever actually became Thanos, because everyone just always went for it, and it was really hard to actually become Thanos. But he was super fun to do, super broken. So that was definitely pretty cool. But the actual season itself had, it added in hop rocks. Remember those? You could like bounce around and stuff like that. So it was a pretty solid season there. Again, did the same thing as previous seasons, just, added in some new stuff and did things like that, So we're starting off, like, the bar's pretty low here. Like, nothing crazy is happening in these first seasons, really. But we're starting to pick it up now once we're at season 4. So season 5 is when... season 4 did add shopping carts. first ever vehicle. Forgot about that one real quick. But season 5 was where we finally start getting like some real big like gameplay changes. Like season 4 kind of started that, and then season 5 really takes it above and beyond, and then we keep going up and from there. Like for example, it added in rifts. It added in did it add in the grapple? Like the grappler? Or was that season 4? Season 4 actually had like the jetpack. Ooh, dude, I forgot about the jetpack. We need to go back to season 4 again. And it had the it might have had the grappler. I don't remember. Pretty sure season 5 added in the grappler. What else is season 4? Oh, the guided missile launcher too was season 4, but you know, that's all just stuff where it doesn't really matter. You know, just new items and stuff like that. That's always been a thing. But season 5 had like the ATKs, like the golf carts, and it had, of course, like the rifts, as we were talking. Like, it really started to change up the gameplay and do some fun things like that. Like, all these seasons were really good seasons, you know? Nothing too big, but it was, like, progressively getting bigger, and the gameplay was starting to change up and how things worked. Season 5 had, like, the heisted mode. Anyone remember that? Where you had to, like, get, like, the crystal llama and, like, escaping the heist fans. I remember playing that. That was really cool. You also had the first, like, birthday event, too. Like, the 1-year anniversary of Fortnite was during that time period. That was really fun. I remember really enjoying that. Then, anyway, back to season 6. You had, like, the quad crasher was added during that point. The heavy sniper. You had the upgraded versions of, like, the pump were added in there. You know, the purple and gold ones. Like, there was a lot of really good stuff that came out of that season as well. Plus, our first ever big, like, Fortnitemares happened, you know, where Kevin the Cube did his thing, and then we got zombies all over the map, which, you know, was pretty cool at first, until they got pretty annoying later on, but it was still pretty fun there. Yeah, so all these seasons are just really fun to play throughout. Each one's bringing, like, a different form of gameplay. Even though season 6, you might look back on it like, oh, that was season we got zombies and stuff like that. Well, that was, like, the Halloween season. It was part of, like, that season's vibe, you know? So you can't really, like, take it away from that entirely. You know, even though not everyone loved it, it was a thing. Also, I'm pretty sure they had it in glider redeploy, too. It's just, like a testing, like, the mechanics, something, like, everyone had. And then later they made it into, like an item for season 7. And season 7 added in planes. That was really fun, also kind of broken. The Infinity Blade, which is pretty fun, also very broken. And it did balloons. That was... Actually, no, season 6 did balloons. I remember balloons were in season 7, though. Yeah, it did same thing, new weapons, new items, changed up the gameplay. Planes, I mean, they're really fun. I personally, I love the planes, but... yeah, they were a little bit broken, if I do recall. The Infinity Blade 2, that was the whole thing. Remember, people were freaking out over that, like, oh my god, they're ruining competitive. What are they doing? little did we know it was gonna come later. Season X. Anyway, yeah, so that happened. There was tons of items during that season. It was really freaking cool. And then we got, what was it? Oh, yeah, the special limited time events. There was, like, a winter period, like the Winterfest. Except it wasn't called Winterfest. I think it was just, like, 14 days of winter, maybe? 14 days of Christmas? I don't think it was Christmas. Like, 14 days of winter or something. Like, they did that later with, like, the summer event. It was, like, 14 days of summer as well. So I'm not entirely sure what it was called. I think it was something along those lines. It was the first time they did that, though. It was really cool. Every day, there was a brand new challenge that you could do to unlock some sort of, like, reward. Always really easy. You had all the Christmas items in game, like the presents and stuff like that. And, of course, during this time period, there's a bunch of new game modes. Like, I think season 6 had, like, there's, like, the disco game mode added in there. At some point, there was the food fight game mode. Season 7, maybe the disc one was season 7. I don't know. Yeah, but there were new game modes being added in. I'm pretty sure, like, sniper shootout probably at this point. Solid gold. I don't know. But yeah, there's definitely tons of different LTMs being added in at this time, so things were pretty good there, you know? But, yeah, so the gameplay was pretty nice for season 7 as well. And then season 8, what did season 8 do? Well, it added in the ballers as a new vehicle. Anyone remember those things? Like, with like the grapple on them, like they're inside the glass ball. That was, certainly fun, I guess. You know, those were something. And, you know, just new weapons and stuff like that. You know, for chapter 1, really, okay, this is gonna change coming in the later chapters. Okay, I promise. I'm just kind of like, chapter 1, like, the gameplay changes aren't that significant between chapters. it's like every chapter after, though, like they actually go like really hard into the themes and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of boring for chapter 1. I'm not gonna lie, but trust me, it's still really good though. The gameplay is good, but it's not being changed up that greatly. Okay, so I'm just kind of going through it quickly. Okay, let's just skip past season 8. Okay, I'm gonna miss stuff. I don't care. Every single season, it's just new weapons and new items and stuff like that, and then a few new vehicles. You know, like that's just what's gonna happen at this point. Season 9 had like the air thingies actually, so I guess it is something different. They had the air tubes you could use to fly around the map. Those were kind of cool, I guess. Also a little bit annoying when someone just like ran away from you. You know, just jump in there and go, and then they were gone. What else is this? I don't honestly remember anything else about what this new season had. Again, all of them just had new weapons and stuff like that. I feel like the gameplay wasn't that good this season. Yeah, it was just kind of like, Like it did have a summer event, which was fine. I think. I don't think it was that impressive. It had another birthday thing for Fortnite's 2nd anniversary, but nothing too great there. This was the season that the World Cup happened, I guess, but that's not gameplay oriented. Oh, okay. Actually, no. This is a really good talking point. This is where things got really sweaty in season 8. I mean, no, season 9. Because, like, I remember I only won one game that entire season, and it was, day 1 of the season, I went over to a friend's house, squads game, a really intense, like, match or something, and we just won that game. First day of the season, didn't win a single other game that entire season. Because I was still, like, obviously, pretty bad at the game, and, every other player, the skill gap was just getting absolutely massive at this point, and the season just wasn't really that fun to play for this reason, because I like a player like me just couldn't win. Like that's what was beginning to happen. Like if you were a bad player, like you would like your chance of winning was literally like dropping every week. Like it was kind of it was actually crazy. Whereas like the best of the best players were like consistently winning more and more because like the skill gap was just widening as more and more players joined the game and players got better and a lot of other players didn't. I was somewhere maybe in like I don't know like below like slightly below average at that point, maybe like about average. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah. So it was really tough that season, and then season 10 came around. Oh boy. Yeah, that was, yikes, Season X was definitely something. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The mechs, the brutes, whatever you want to call them. They were so broken, it's crazy, and it took Epic so long to nerf them, and then inevitably they just finally removed them from the game. And the whole purpose of creating them was to give, like, less skilled players a chance at winning. And it just like, didn't do that because it became just a teaming device. Remember, people would go in the legs, people in the top. They literally introduced like a team killing device, and people would just go in there in solos. Like it was just a mess. Plus, okay, you know, I did say I wasn't going to talk about the map changes, but like the season's kind of like unique. I think this is worth being talked about because it actually does affect the gameplay. Like there were a ton of locations that special like rift zones or whatever, and like if like tilted towers changed to tilted town, and like it was like a no building zone, which was kind of cool, I guess. But like Retail Row had monsters spawning in it, like the zombies. Moisty Mire, or no, it wasn't Moisty Mire. Paradise Palms. It was like merged with Moisty Mire, and then it had like a thing where if you crouched, you turned into a prop for some reason. And then who could forget the Greasy Grove Taco Time?
No, we're chilling.
I'm dead. I got one shot.
Taco time!
Gameplay during this season was terrible, and again, like the skill gap was even worse. I literally did not win a single game of this season until like I don't know, maybe like a week or two before it ended. Like literally the day they implemented skill-based matchmaking, it was like a week or two before the season ended. So that's everything for the seasons and gameplay of Chapter 1. So I really liked all the gameplay for the first 8 seasons. Really, like it was all great. Season 9 and 10 is where things got pretty bad. So, I mean, out of 10 seasons, 2 of them weren't great. So, let's just give it an 8 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair, right? Yeah. So now, moving on to the map. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Because, of course, this is like the OG map. A lot of nostalgia is tied in there. And I think it's very important to note that like every location on this map was an absolute banger. Okay, I mean, that's a lie, not every location, but there's so many good spots I love to drop at. Like you had Pleasant Park, Salty Springs, Retail Row, Tilted Towers, of course. Loot Lake, after it got blown up later on, was really, really good to land at. One of my favorites. Fatal Fields was great. Remember, Lazy Links was fun. Lonely Lodge, I really liked landing there. That was one of my original drop spots. Like, there's so many good places that you could go during the entire chapter, even as things were changing. The new locations were fun. Like Paradise Palms was great. Some like the icy places later on. We'll get to that in just a moment. But this chapter had a lot of really good locations the entire way throughout. Better than any other chapter, in my opinion. Okay, like the locations were really well done and really solid. So it's already gonna get a ton of points for that. Now looking into the actual map changes. Season 1 was just pretty basic. A lot of open, grassy nothingness and just like some small locations. Season 2 added into the towers, I think like the junkyard and maybe Shifty Shafts as well. So that was really great. I don't know what Season 3 did, probably something. There's definitely something, I don't know what though. Season 4 did Dusty Divot, of course. That was the big one. And that was pretty cool. You know, it actually changed like the map. And that was a major impact. Season 5 had the whole desert biome, which is really cool because now that was our first brand new biome of the map. And it had a nice, really cool location in it. Season 6 had Kevin the Cube making things evil, kind of. So not a lot of crazy map changes, mainly just like Loot Lake. But it had like a floating island going around the map. Remember that? Like that was really cool to see happen. So that was definitely different as like a location, like a floating location. What? Like I remember that was kind of crazy back then. What else do we have? Oh yeah, Season 7 had a massive like snowy area that they added onto the map. That was definitely crazy. 3 locations in, you got Frosty Floods, Polar Peaks, Happy Hamlet. Really good stuff there. Season 8 had a whole jungle biome with the volcano. You had Sunny Steps, Lazy Lagoon, you know, so that was really cool. And then Season 9 had like the futuristic locations, Neo Tilted, Mega Mall, plus like the tube things going around the map. And then Season 10, we already kind of talked about that one. It was just an absolute mess of a season. Like it brought back the original Dusty Depot and like the meteor in the sky, but like it was as the season progressed, it just got worse and worse and worse because they did like the rift zones on the locations and just made them all really annoying to land at because they all had like some weird gimmick that totally just messed up everything, you know, and it just made the map look kind of yuck. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, like the map was really good throughout this period until Season 9, because like I don't get me wrong, like I like the futuristic vibes, but it kind of like ruined the map a little bit because that's when it started to get like a bit too messy. Like there was too much stuff being shoved into it, and then Season 10 just made that even worse. But you gotta give it props for like for having so many good locations. No other chapters had that. So honestly, the map is kind of the best part of the chapter. We're gonna give it a 9 out of 10 for map. Okay, I think that's definite there. It's so nostalgic landing on that map. Like we just experienced that with OG last year, so I can definitively say that. So now moving on to the story. This should be the quickest segment, hopefully. You know, talked a long time about this stuff, and as we go on, this is gonna get quicker because the other chapters are all a lot shorter. So this is gonna be the longest one. But yeah, so the story, interesting. So nothing for first 3 seasons. Well, that's not really true. Season 3 got like the comet in the sky, which then crashed down in Season 4. Big meteorite impact. The Visitor came out, first member of the 7, and then he built that thing with the rocket, flew around to like escape the island or something through the rift. Kevin the Cube managed to slip in through the rift, you know. He rolled around the map, did some spooky evil stuff. Rose out the island, started the like zombie cube monster invasion thing. That ultimately failed. So then he like, I don't know, he like sacrificed himself or whatever, just kind of blew up. Rest in peace, Kevin. You will be missed. His sacrifice brought me my favorite location of all time, Season 7 Loot Lake. And then Season 7 happened. It's just like the Kevin the Cube storyline was over, or whatever that was. And then it brought us to the Ice King arrived on his giant thing. He like melted out, remember? Started the whole ice storm, or like the ice storm thing, which was, you know, it was an okay event, like the ice storm event. It was fine. Nothing too crazy. I remember a lot of people didn't like it that much, if I'm being honest, but it wasn't that bad though. It just kind of happened, I guess. It was an okay event. Then you had like the prisoner leak out. That was like the fire guy. Like he escaped his prison and then created the volcano, which was then used during the vaulting event we had the vault open, I guess. We saw the 0 point for the first time, which is cool. Then he exploded the volcano, destroyed Retail Row, Tilted Towers, and he hit the iceberg, which the next season released the Devourer, like the monster guy, who then showed up at the end to try and eat the 0 point and gain all of its abilities by breaking into the vault. But our giant robot friend that we had built helped us defeat the monster, and kill it. But it left the 0 point cracked and exposed, which led to reality starting to collapse in season X. And that was when the scientist arrived, a brand new member of the Seven, and then he concocted a plan to try and break the loop, which we are trapped in on the Fortnite island. That's like the whole thing. Like a new character arrives, they're trapped on the Battle Royale island in an infinite loop of just fighting over and over and over again. Like the loop of Battle Royale. That's like the whole thing there. So the Seven are trying to break it, I guess. And you could see that through like video logs and stuff like that as he slowly constructed the rocket, which is really cool to see. This was the most storyline we got out of the whole chapter. Definitely really interesting character. He was the secret skin as well. So yes, they really went into it for season X, for all like the storyline stuff. And then that concluded in one of my all-time favorite events, the end event, where all of the Seven arrived through a rift. You could see all 7 of the rockets. They got the meteor and they tried to drop it on the 0 point thing because everything was kind of like frozen in time at the moment. And they were going to try and use that to destroy the loop, but it backfired. It did the whole black hole thingy, sucked everything in, and then it spat out chapter 2. So yeah, so that's like the storyline. So what do we think about it? It's not that great, to be completely honest. It's very we're definitely gonna see this later in other chapters, and when we're gonna get to that, obviously. But it's not like a coherent story. It's just like events happening, like a meteor crashes, then a rift opens in the sky, then there's a cube, then there's an iceberg. Now there's a volcano. Now there's a monster. Now there's a black hole. None of it it's all connected because it technically leads into each other. But there's not an underlying story element that's consistent throughout all of it, so it's not a really good story. It's just a bunch of events that are just happen to be happening and are being caused by each other. But so I would give it maybe a 7 out of 10 or something, because it's interesting to follow for sure, but it's not a really good story per se. But they cooked with the live events, though. Definitely some of the best live events we've ever received. So I'm thinking, it's tough. Definitely tough. We got some really good live events, but the storyline itself isn't incredible. So I'm not totally sure. I'm thinking maybe 8 out of 10. I could say 9, but the storyline really wasn't that great. So looking at it, we got an 8 out of 10 for the seasons, a 9 out of 10 for the map, and a 8 out of 10 for the story. So tallying all of those together, we get a 25 out of 30 for chapter 1. So that's our ranking for chapter 1. That's how many points it gets. So, damn, this was a long portion. Let's move on to chapter 2. Starting off with the gameplay, season 1. I really liked the first season. Brand new map, tons of brand new locations, really cool vibe. The Fortnite mirrors happened, it was kind of cool. And then the Winterfest event was hands down the best we've ever received. No one can tell me it wasn't, because it literally was. Okay, it was the first time we got Crackshot's cabin, daily new presents, daily new LTMs, the whole wintry map changes, which I mean, okay, I mean that's shoot, that's supposed to be for the map section, I guess. But you know, screw it. It hasn't. It's all part of the event. I don't care. Plus the whole Star Wars event too. We had lightsabers and blasters on the map. The NPCs, like combining Star Wars, something I love, with the greatest Christmas event of all time already, just makes like the best thing ever. Like, it was such a fun time period to play through. It literally just felt like Christmas. Like, bro, that was like peak Fortnite Christmas time right there. I don't really know what I'm saying right now, but I just absolutely love that period though. Admittedly, the season did kind of die down after that. Like, the last 2 months, it got really boring because nothing happened, and it had a really lackluster, like, Valentine's Day event, you know, so there's nothing really going on there. You know, I didn't mention this before, but they did like a Valentine's Day thing in season 7. You get like the free battle pass, and there's like game mode and stuff like that. They did that really well. Did not do it well for this one, but yeah, I really liked the first season, but definitely kind of fell short later on. Season 2 though, massive gameplay changes. This is the first time we have tons of new mythic items. We got NPCs added in. We got bosses. And there's the whole like spy stuff that you can do. There's like disguises. There's tons of new items that are completely brand new mechanics and stuff like that. There's new game modes and stuff in this time period as well. Really good gameplay. Everyone remembers Chapter 2, Season 2 as like the second prime of Fortnite. Yeah, so that was that. Another really great season there. Season 3, whole map got flooded, and you had the same kind of thing, like some bosses and mythic stuff, but they added in sharks that season, which was really cool. Also, previous season added in helicopters as a brand new vehicle. Oh, and season 1, when you go back to season 1, it added in swimming, fishing, boats, like you can now hide in stuff, you can carry your teammates. The bandage bazooka was a huge thing. And then season 3 did kind of the same thing there too, you know, so season 3 gameplay was also great. You know, it had a pretty good summer event too, if I recall. And then season 4, oh, this is the one I was talking about before. It was pretty good gameplay wise. It had a ton of like Marvel mythics. That was like the entirety of the season, just like Marvel stuff everywhere, and that was kind of it. That was all it really did for gameplay. That was literally it. Just Marvel mythics. Every other season is something like more unique and like mechanically like changed how you actually played the season. Nope, this season was just Marvel mythics, which were cool, and there were a lot of them. But, like, that was it, though. So, yeah, moving on. Season 5, you can hide in the sand. Remember that? They added in bounties as well, and now you can find NPC characters. You can talk to them, you can buy things from them, and you can hire them to help you out. So that was really cool. What else did the season do? I don't remember, but it had some pretty cool stuff, I think. Also, wait, no, going back to season 4, also the Fortnite mirrors. You know, we have Minus's Revenge. Remember that thing? He turns like shadows if you die. That was a really fun Fortnite mirrors. I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, season 5 was great because of all like the bounty stuff. And then season 6. Ooh, yikes. We got the crafting system, which everyone hated. Okay, not a good start. Okay, well, we do have some wildlife. We got frogs, chickens, boars, wolves, and even raptors. The raptors and the wolves were really freaking annoying. Okay. Well, they removed all snipers and made everything a bow instead. Huh. I mean, you had your mythic weapons, but there was like the one shotgun that was like broken and then got nerfed. There was like the recycler, and anyone remember that thing? It was like playing like sucked up materials and spilled it out as like a trash ball. There was like some weird like bouncy boot thing that you could do. Yeah, no, gameplay was pretty bad during this season. And then season 7 going on there, the gameplay was great. You had like the alien like intruders around the map. You had like the IO guards as like the mythic, and then like their boss with like Sloan as well. There were tons of new items like every week. You had the railgun, which was a really cool item to use. You had the inflatable. There was like the plasma blaster. There was the propifier. Like, there's so many cool new items and like weapons added in during this season. I remember the ray gun. Like, it was so cool. The stuff like that. There was like the UFOs you could fly around and pick up things, throw them, even players as well. That was really fun to do. And then of course they had the abductors that came in later, where you could like go over to them, they'd pick you up, put you in a little like mini game where you competed to get like some really good loot, and then you would get it and then send you back out. That was really cool. So yeah, that season was really great for gameplay. And then season 8, interesting for sure. Actually, okay, I do have a complaint. Season 8 was when it got really sweaty during season 8 again, and it got to a point where I could no longer win games again. I did win games, but it got so hard that like I stopped playing like a real player, and I just started like hiding like every match because I just couldn't compete with the players anymore. And then it ruined my gameplay cycle for the next like year of my time on Fortnite, which was really bad. You know, that did not go well for me, but you know, I got out of that slump. But yeah, you had like all of like the sideways weapons. Remember that? There was like the sideways rifle. There was like the sideways minigun. The Fortnite event added in like the scythe. You had like the cube monsters around the map, just like the cubes in general. There's like the crash ships. There was what was it? Like the caretakers, like the big bosses, they'll go around the map. Those things were really cool. So yeah, it did some pretty good stuff. The Fortnite was great during this season as well. Yeah, so gameplay was pretty good, I guess. Although it was like kind of a mess, I guess. Didn't particularly love it, if I do say so myself. But I mean, like I can't just say like it had a lot of stuff. Like not all the stuff was really that good, especially during this season. Like it wasn't that fun to play through, especially when everyone was really sweaty and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, so that's all the seasons. Gameplay. What are we thinking here? The first 3 seasons were great. Season 4 was fine. 5 was nice. 6 was bad. 7 was really great. 8 was not great. I'm thinking like a 7 out of 10 for gameplay. Or just seasons. I keep calling it gameplay. It says seasons. I'm really just talking about like the gameplay of each season. You know, doing like a little season review kind of thing is what that means. So I'm thinking maybe a 7 out of 10, you know? Because, you know, if 2 of the seasons are bad for gameplay, well, that's, like, I can't just do the 8 out of 10 thing I did for Chapter 1, because there's only 8 seasons this time, so I think a 7 out of 10 is kind of worth it there. So now moving on to the map, that's, an interesting one for sure. Started off pretty strong, like, it was really cool. Everything kind of looked the samey, though. It was all just grass, I guess. You did, like, the swampy area and your beaches and your farms and like the mountains, I guess, but nothing really crazy. Like Chapter 1 had like the whole desert biome and the snowy biome and the volcano and the jungle, you know, like it did all that. This chapter never did that. Like Season 2 added in like the spy locations, which was nice. Season 3 flooded everything, and that was cool. Season 4, absolutely nothing happened. Like at the very beginning, we got Doom's Domain, which is just a worse version of Pleasant Park. This season was so dry for locations until, of course, we got Stark Industries like halfway through, which was admittedly really cool. But like, besides that, there was nothing. So I don't know. I don't love this season's map changes, and Stark Industries was really weird because it was like elevated above like everything else. So it was kind of like annoying to have that just like slapped in the middle of the map, to be completely honest. But yeah, it was still a really good spot to go to. Season 5 was really nice. Had the whole like sandy portion in the middle of the map that you could interact with. You had like the stealthy stronghold. There was like that one nice place. I forget what it was called. There was the Colosseum. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, map changes were definitely pretty good. Like it seemed like things were finally getting good. But then Primal happened, and that was just like this weird like orange like symbol across the map with like the spire and stuff like that. And all these locations were just so bland, they all looked the same. It was just so bad. And then Season 7's map, like, oh my god, it was even worse. There was nothing. It was literally just the Chapter 1 map again, but now there's a couple purple spots around the island. Like what did they do, bro? Season 7's map was terrible. It was just a redo of the other stuff. Like, the gameplay was great, but the map was so bad. Like, I mean, okay, that's not entirely true. Like, it did update as it went on. Like some, like, locations got, like, lifted up in the air and things like that. But, like, Still though, it really wasn't that great. And then season 8, oh my god, this one is the worst culprit, because they advertise it in the trailers as like the entire map is destroyed, covered in cubes and like a crashed ship. And in reality, it was just like a few spots around the map that had that. There's maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 5 cubes total on the actual map. So really poor start up there. And as it went on, it just got worse and worse and worse, because then the cubes like spread around the corrupted effect, and the end season ended up looking like this. It looked like someone it just it looked like a giant like fart stain just all over the map. Like, it was so ugly to look at and play through, honestly. I mean, like, the convergence and the pyramid thing in the middle was kind of cool, I guess, but like, come on, man. We can do better than that. So the map started off pretty cool, I guess, but then it got pretty bad. So low-key, I'm giving the map a 6 out of 10, dude. The map was bad in chapter 2. It was not a great map. It really wasn't. It just got progressively worse. I remember just being sick of it, dude. Like even by season 7, I was pretty tired of it. Like, especially after season 6 was when I really didn't like it that much. 7, at least they got rid of the orange stuff in season 7, but it still wasn't great. And then 8 just absolutely ruined it for me. Like, I just wanted this map to be gone now. Like, I was just so sick of it at this point. All right, anyway, moving on to the story. No questions asked. Easy 10 out of 10. Easiest 10 out of 10 I've ever get in my life. Holy crap, they cooked with the storyline. First off, you have some incredible live events. You had the device event, the Galactus event, the Zero Crisis event, Operation Skyfire, and of course the end event. Like, all of these were just incredible. Like, low-key better than the events from chapter 1. Like, they cooked with the events this chapter as well, okay? It was absolutely incredible. I loved them, okay? The events were phenomenal. And the storyline was actually a coherent story, okay? It really kicked off in the end of the second season when Midas tried to, like stop the loop by pushing back the storm with his device. But the IO pushed back against him and stopped him, made the giant soon they flooded the map, destroying all of that and everything like that, so that way they couldn't do that. And then of course you got the Galactus arriving to try and get the 0 point, and then we stopped him, but it was exposed. So then the IO and this is when we finally got introduced to Agent Jones, of course. He finally got brought into the fray, and then he did his whole thing with the bringing all the different hunters to try and stop people from escaping the loop, trying to keep everyone contained. But then it wasn't working, things were falling apart because you got too many different people. It was destabilizing again, kind of like season X all over again. Big mess right there. So then he had to go in and get the help of the 7, and he called in the leader of them all, the Foundation, of course, to come help everyone out. And that seemed to work for a while. He contained the blast in the spire. But then at this moment, the alien mothership arrived, okay? And yeah, so that happened, which of course brought out Dr. Sloan, the maybe not the leader of the Imagined Order, I believe that's Geno, but she is definitely a director of some sort, or she has a really high ranking role, because she was telling Jones what to do earlier. So then she came out to deal with this situation, of course, and that led to Operation Skyfire. We blew up the ship, it released all the cubes everywhere. It's the secret controls, everything, because it turns out all the aliens were, and their technology and their ships were really just like an enslaved race of aliens by the last reality, which is the cubes and the Cube Queen, who then arrived on the map with the intent to conquer it and basically just make it all cube evilness, just do all that, pure evil character, spread the power of the cubes across everything, so then we have the whole war thing is initiated against them, of course, and then we start trying to fight back in the end event, but obviously the Cube Queen's way too powerful. She brings the whole armada. Anyone else remember seeing that? The one mothership was massive at the beginning, and then we see there's a whole army of them coming in through the portal. We actually see what the last reality really is. And then of course there's the Queen's Cradle, which is the massive Death Star size ship. I really hope they bring that stuff back at some point, because that was crazy. And then of course you have like the IOs like interrogating Jones down there. And then you gotta call on the 7. You got the Foundation, the Scientist, the Visitors back, you know. And then they use that to flip over the island to defeat the Cube Queen and stop the last reality, you know. But now the 7 is exposed and the IO are pretty mad, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much the storyline of chapter 2. And it's actually a really solid, coherent story, you know, that brings in multiple different factions. You have the Imagined Order, the IO, of course. You have the 7 coming in there, and then of course the last reality, who then kind of messes up everything, but if they get defeated, and then sets up the big conflict between the IO and the 7 that's going to come into play in chapter 3. So the storyline here is really good. The events are incredible. 10 out of 10. No questions asked. So the overall rating for the chapter, including all those points, is a 23 out of 30. Pretty solid for chapter 2. So now moving on to chapter 3. This is where things are going to start going really quick because only 4 seasons. So the gameplay of chapter 3, I don't know, they had tenths. And they included like the Spider-Man stuff. You could like swing on webs. The sliding was brand new. Remember you could like knock down trees and then like roll and stuff like that. I remember that being a thing. Yeah, there was some pretty cool stuff there. Oh, the victory crowns were added in during this time period too. Let's see. Oh yeah, weather conditions. Like you had like the tornadoes and the lightning. Colombo was added in as like a guy around the map. Yeah, there's definitely some really good stuff for gameplay wise. But once again, the season got like really sweaty at the end of the last month. So didn't really love it. The Christmas event was nice though. You had like the Christmas, you had what's his name, Sergeant Winter going around in his truck with his little elves on like the quad crashers, throwing out presents. That was really cool. I really liked that. So they did a pretty good job with the gameplay this season. Season 2 though, oof, yikes. Yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't like this season. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. It's just kind of for me, because this is the one where I added in zero build, and for a lot of people, they love that. Me personally, I hated it. I think zero build sucks, and I could go on a whole tangent about why I think it sucks, but now is not the time for that. I don't have the time for that, so we're not gonna do that right now. Maybe if someone wants to ask me about it in the comments, then I'll gladly type out a whole essay in the comments about it. But that's not what we're doing right now, okay? I just hated zero build, and I thought the whole gameplay of the chapter was just kind of really bad because nothing was really new. I mean, there were other new mechanics, like you could now mantle stuff and you could sprint, which was pretty cool, and you had no builds with like the overshield and whatnot, but it didn't really like do too much crazy new stuff for the gameplay. It did have tanks, which were ridiculously broken, and some new vehicles, like the armored battle bus was there too. I suppose it did have some good stuff, but you know, I just really didn't enjoy it that much gameplay wise. And then going into season 3 though, the Vibin season, a lot of people do not like this season, which surprises me because this is one of my all-time favorite seasons. I absolutely love this season. You had like the reality saplings where you could like upgrade like your like weapons over time through like the plant, like between games and stuff like that. That was a really cool feature. I mean, I have to talk about it. Like the reality area that happened here was so cool. Like visually, it really added a lot to the aesthetic. You had like the roller coaster as well, and the ballers were back. You had tons of great weapons and stuff like that. Darth Vader got added on as a boss. You could get his lightsaber. You can now ride animals like the boar, for example, and probably wolves too. I think you could like do some fun stuff like that. There was I don't know. There was more fun stuff though too. It was just a great season. It was really fun to play through. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. What's next? Oh, Paradise. Yes, that's when Chrome became a thing. Chrome was a really cool mechanic. You had the Chrome weapons as well, like the Evo Chrome ones. There was an assault rifle and a shotgun, which were really nice. You also had the Herald as a boss, which she was a really cool boss fight. I remember really liking that a lot. The Fortnite Mares was pretty bad during this season, admittedly. I think everyone kind of knows that. It was just a really fun season to play through. Like the whole Chrome stuff, like locations were being lifted up off the ground. it definitely really did change up the gameplay. It had a lot of really fun weapons and items, like the goo gun, for example. Anyone remember that thing? That was really fun to use. You know, stuff like that. It was really fun to play through. I like the whole chrome thing and stuff like that. So gameplay was pretty good during this chapter overall. I really liked 3 of the seasons. Didn't love the second one, but it was still pretty good. So we're going to give gameplay a solid 8 out of 10 for chapter 3. I really enjoyed the gameplay. So now, moving on to the map, it started out really good, like really solid. You had the desert area, the grass area, the snowy area, you had your beaches, you know, like it was a really solid map. Season 2 kind of ruined it because it was like the war stuff everywhere. And I get it, like the theme of the season was a war theme, but it just kind of ruined the map a little bit because like there was like explosions and like smoke and stuff everywhere. You know, it just made it look kind of messy, and I didn't really like that much, you know. Season 3 had the whole like reality area where like the mushrooms and like the purple stuff and the reality tree. Absolutely loved that place. And then season 4 made that whole place orange, which was a really cool like aesthetic change. Plus you had all like the chrome locations which were slowly spreading around the map and taking over everything, which was really cool as well. So map was pretty solid except for like that one season. So I'm just gonna go for another 8 out of 10, honestly. I really like the map. Honestly, I feel like they could have gone for more seasons with chapter 3. It was still a pretty good map at the end there. So then, going on to the storyline, it's a pretty interesting one. It's pretty short too. Season 1 sets up the conflict between the IO and the 7, and then season 2, the fight breaks out, and it's the war between the Imagine Order and like the rest of the island, being led by the 7, of course, which concludes in the collision event, which was a really cool event. I really enjoyed that one. And everyone takes a nice break in the Vibin season, which then sets up the Herald as a villain, who is sent by the Nothing, like the ultimate Fortnite villain who we've never actually seen of, but we did hear some voice lines in the Paradise season where the Herald arrived because she heralded the Nothing by using the power of the Chrome, which was gifted to her by the Nothing. So she got those abilities and was able to use it to try and like basically destroy and conquer stuff, you know? So we have that happen. And then she did her thing, and the Fracture event happened, and blew up the whole map. But the Fracture event sucked, bro. Worst event of all time. I know we just had that one recent event. But I still think Fracture is the worst thing we've ever actually experienced in any game ever for Fortnite. At least I don't know why I said every game ever. But Fracture was just so bad, bro. Especially because during it through, like I got kicked out while playing it. Like, it was literally just a cutscene. We played mini games for 45 minutes, and then and then it showed the trailer of the new season. That was the entire event. Like, it was so bad, and I also got kicked out during it, so I didn't even get to like play through the whole thing. It was just, it just sucked, you know. And it actually really brings down the story of this chapter. Like, the IO7 part was really fun to follow, and the Herald was really cool at first, but then it just kind of went into nothing. Pun intended there, the nothing. But the, yeah, like it was a lot of setup and stuff like that, and then just kind of blew up the map, like, really easily, too. Like, there wasn't even, like, a fight. I was expecting, like some big kind of fight at the end of Chapter 2, when, like, the last reality invaded. There was a whole fight going on, and, you know, stuff like that, and we defeated them. Like, I was expecting to lose against the Chrome, but I didn't think it'd be so easily. Like, it all just happened through like a single cutscene, you know? It was a pretty cool cutscene, granted, but you know what I mean? It was just not that great. The collision event was cool. It wasn't a bad storyline, but it was really short. Fracture sucked. I think we're just gonna go for another 8, honestly, for story. Like, it was a good story throughout the chapter. It's really just Fracture that's bad. Yeah, and that did really ruin it a lot. So I guess an 8 out of 10 is pretty solid. So 8's all the way through. That is a 24 out of 30 for Chapter 3. Yeah, Chapter 3 was pretty great. Now, moving on to Chapter 4, the first season. We got brand new graphics. I didn't really mention this the other 2 chapters. The graphics all got improved. Chapter 4, the biggest and the best graphics of any chapter ever. Like, obviously, Chapter 1 is like that OG, like, nostalgia, like the cartoony based stuff. But Chapter 4 is just absolutely gorgeous, bro. They nailed it. And you got like the Shockwave Hammer during this time period, the Excalibur weapons, which were really cool to play through and stuff like that. What else? You had like there was a lot of like anime collabs and stuff like that during this time period. You had like the there was like the heist thing, like the Most Wanted stuff. There was like the heisted exotics and like the heat system. That was so cool. I absolutely loved that. Okay, that was great. So the gameplay during the first season was phenomenal. And one thing that I'm just going to mention now, just to get out of the way, reoccurring through the entire chapter, was the fact that they absolutely ruined the storm. The amount of times I died during this chapter to the storm is more than any other chapter combined, like easily, because they not only increased like how like the storm damage like earlier on, they also made it move significantly faster in the later zones. So I just died to the zone constantly, and it sucked. Did not enjoy that whatsoever. That was not fun. No, it was not. So then, season 2, Mega, it did some really cool stuff for sure. Though it had like the kinetic blade, all like the Japanese related stuff. And then there was the big Star Wars event, May the 4th, best one yet. Had all the lightsabers and like the abilities like Force Push, Force Throw, Force Pull. Absolutely loved that. Plus Darth Maul, one of my all-time favorite Star Wars characters, was added in there. So that was lovely. And the season was just really fun to play through. We also had dirt bikes too. I forgot to mention that in the season 1 of chapter 4. We got dirt bikes. And then this current Mega season, we also had like a new version of the bikes and like the cars and stuff like that. The Loot Island was added in. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did Loot Island. They brought back like vaults and stuff. That was really cool. They did a great job there. And then Wilds happened. This was definitely something for the gameplay. Yeah, so Wilds was interesting. It added in like the vines that you could ride on, and the raptors and stuff like that. The Cybertronian cannon was fun. And they also had like temples around the map and like the jungle areas that you could like investigate, and like there were puzzles and traps set up in there, which is really cool to do. But the gameplay wasn't like incredible throughout the entire thing, you know, nothing really mind-blowing or really particularly fun. Like, I definitely had fun during the season, but it was definitely the weakest of the three. I see a lot of people hate on this season. I don't think it was that bad, really. I think it's just the jungle that people hated, which we'll get to later. But the actual gameplay of the season was pretty good, though. Moving on to season 4 of chapter 4. I really like all the seasons of chapter 4. I'm now realizing, especially chapter 4. This was like the heist season. It was so cool. All like the heisted like weapons and stuff like that were great. I love the mechanics where you would like break in, there'd be alarms and like jail cages. You had to fight the boss and break out, steal the mythics, you know, and that whole thing, fight all the guards off. It was so much fun doing that. Fort Nightmares was also pretty great during this time period as well. So yeah, I absolutely loved that season. That was great. Plus Ahsoka happened, and you could get her lightsaber too, and I love Ahsoka. So it's definitely going to go up there as one of the all-time favorites. Yeah, so all the seasons were really strong during chapter 4. I really liked all of them, I'm not gonna lie. But the issues with like the storm being really annoying, and another thing too I forgot to mention, this is more like a map thing, but it does go into the gameplay for once. It was a really crowded map. Like, first of all, the map was really small, and it was full of like there were trees everywhere. Like, this was a problem in the first 2 seasons. The jungle biome made it worse. Like, everything was so crowded, there was no room for like open fights. You would constantly just get jumped by people because everything was so overly crowded by buildings and trees and whatnot, you know what I mean? So it was really annoying to play through and do a lot of that. So that definitely brings it down a bit. And then obviously Wilds happened, which didn't have the best gameplay ever. So we're gonna go an 8 out of 10 for the seasons. Moving on to the map. The map was pretty good. Like, even though it was like weirdly shaped, it had its grassy area, its snowy, icy areas, and then like the yellowy orange, just like autumn fall kind of areas. It added the Citadel, Brutal Bastion. I forget the names of the other locations. That's actually probably a pretty bad sign that I can't remember the names of any of the other locations. Season 2 had Mega City though, which is great. It had like the hot springs area with like the cherry blossoms and whatnot for like the Japanese related things. Wilds obviously had like the jungle. It was cool, I guess, but I didn't really like it that much. So And then 4 had all like the spy stuff and like the heisted things, which were all great. So yeah, let's just go 8 out of 10 on the map again. It's just a solid map. It really is. I liked it quite a bit. I liked everything was like made of like built up pieces from other different maps and stuff like that being brought together by 0 Point. I thought that was a cool touch. So yeah, it seems like a pretty solid chapter so far. I really like this chapter actually. It was really fun for me, and I genuinely wish that I could rate it a lot higher. But we have to talk about the story, man. Oh my god, they sold so bad on this. It was just horrendous what they did to the storyline this season. It started off good. Like, you had, like, Riftward and Stellan, Geno, it's, like, the ageless champion, the shapeless man. Remember all that? They're, like, the voice lines. And then he would, he built the Rift Gate, and everything was really hype. And then all it did was bring in Mega. And then all of a sudden, it just completely dropped all those characters that set up in the first season. And also, the 7 are all gone now. Okay, I guess they all died from the Chrome or something, and the Paradigm sacrificed herself, creating Chapter 4. So the 7 are all just dead. The IO have been eliminated, and the Last Reality's gone. The Herald's gone. All the good stuff and all the good characters are just gone, I guess. You know, so that's fun. What else? Yes, then we had different like gangs and like around the chapter 4 map for the mega season, and one of them was being like influenced by like the Nothing or something to try and bring back the Last Reality. So then we beat them through like a quest line. Yeah, that was it. Season 3, an earthquake just decided to happen, and it broke open the earth. Oh my god, Temple. And what's that? Dr. Sloan is back? What could this possibly mean? And we spent the entire season with like really vague stuff that she was mentioning, and the construction of like a telescope, and the foretelling of like some dark force coming or something like that. Something really evil happening. Something big and scary and like, oh no. So people were hyped, matching up like the symbols in like ruins, thinking it was like the Queen's Cradle. Like, oh my god, bro, Last Reality's actually gonna come back now. Nope. It was an eclipse, and then Kato Thorne appeared, and now Sloane's gone again. Well, no, she's not gone. She was in the next season too, but you know, that was definitely annoying. And then nothing happened the entire season until like the very end, where through like a quest line, we heisted away his time machine, and then I forget why, but for some reason we decided we needed to use it to go back to Fortnite OG to like reset things maybe or something. I don't know. Yay. So yeah, the storyline, it was good for the first season. It was pretty good for the third, terrible for the second, and pretty bad for the fourth. So not a great storyline. And then including the fact that there was not a single live event the entire chapter. It's a 5 out of 10, bro. And at least like it had a story. You know, that's where you get the 5 from. But no live events, and it's just not even good. That's a 5 out of 10, bro. So it really hurts for me to do this, because I really like chapter 4. Like, definitely more so than some of the other chapters personally. But like, it's gonna have to get this point scoring of 21 out of 30. Sorry to do it. But now it's time to go to our final chapter, chapter 5. So chapter 5, probably the most controversial chapter in Fortnite history. Damn, bro, there was so much that happened during this time period. So let's talk about the seasons. Season 1, it introduced the medallions, which were really broken. Did not like those. Mythic weapons were kind of good. The bosses were fine, I guess. It had weapon mods, which were really cool at first, until they got completely neglected and forgotten about. You know, so that was great. It had the train. The train is kind of cool, I guess. You know, I think it could have been a lot better, but the train was there, which might be more of a gameplay thing, but who cares? Yeah, that was kind of it. It's just like the shotgun meta was terrible. It was terrible throughout the entire chapter, actually. The assault rifles are pretty good. The snipers were broken at the beginning, and the shotguns were kind of broken with like the what was it, like there was like that one auto shotgun, like the frenzy auto shotgun everyone used, and like the Reaper sniper rifle, I think is what it was called. It was just, yeah, not a great season gameplay wise. It really was not. Season 2, on the other hand, I love this season so much, and we'll certainly get into why right now. First off, all the brand new Greek stuff. We have the Wings of Icarus, the Chains of Hades, Zeus's lightning bolt. Really fun to use. Absolutely loved it. Having a blast. Plus, we get like the Midas Flora's Gold LTM, which is really cool to play through. There was the Avatar collab, which I absolutely loved because I love Avatar. Got all the different mythics on that you can use and play through on the map. Plus, they made Toph Beifong into a skin. My favorite character from Avatar, one of my favorite characters of all time. So that certainly made me very happy. And then there was a pretty cool Star Wars event too, and you got like the bowcaster and like, I don't know, like your regular blasters and Darth Vader's back to you, gets lightsaber and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it was pretty cool for that stuff. And then season 3 wrecked. Ooh, that's when things got absolutely ridiculous. The cars, I'm just gonna say, they were really fun, like the weapon mods on the cars and stuff like that. It was really fun at first, even though it was really broken, and then they just got nerfed, and then all the counters were added in, and it was really fun at first, even though they were admittedly really broken, and they did need some nerfs or counters. It went a bit too far, and it took away the whole kind of like fun and vibe of the season itself, and that was kind of all the season really had to offer. Medallions during that time were also fine, but they were still strong. Same thing with the previous season. They weren't broken anymore because they didn't just do shield now. They actually had their own unique abilities, which was nice. But they were still you know what I mean? And then finally, the current season that we just had, Absolute Doom, was really great. All the Marvel stuff was really good and balanced, except for Captain America's shield, which did get balanced pretty quickly. The jetpack was a whole thing that was handled really poorly. So we'll talk about that. I don't need to talk about that. It was just handled really poorly. The War Machine stuff was great. The Iron Man stuff come in later, which is really fun to use as well. Shuri's claws were there, Gwenpool's mythics. You had tons of cool Marvel stuff that was really fun to do. And things like that. Doom's Island came in, remember that. The Fortnite Mares event during this season was also phenomenal. Okay, the best Fortnite Mares ever in my opinion. Really loved it with like the chainsaw, the boom billy, like Jigsaw's challenge. It was such a fun time, man. This season was great for the gameplay. But because of like Wrecked and the first season, we're going to give it a 7 out of 10 for seasons in total, which I think is pretty fair. So now moving on to the map. First season, it's just all grass with mountains on the side. It's Season 2, really good. The whole like Olympus area, like the nice golden area, and like the black and green for the underworld. Really like that. Season 3, Wrecked. The wasteland portion, I actually really like the wastelands. I think it's a really cool place to go through. It's actually pretty open and clear. I don't mind it that much. And then obviously the newest ones, like the Absolute Doom stuff. You got the Raft, Doomstat, Doom's Courtyard, and Doom's and Castle Doom. All really nice and good locations and stuff like that. So, and then of course during the Halloween period, you got like updates like the underworld rivers turned like an orange, like a red color, I think it was. The Brawlers battleground got changed to Brawlers Patch, and of course we got the best location of all time, Freaky Fields. Me and the boys always landed at Freaky Fields. So that was that pretty much. Really good on the map. I really like the map a lot. But I did not like the graphics. Holy crap, this is the worst graphics we've ever had. I don't like the hyper-realistic graphics. I really don't. I think it absolutely ruins the chapter. And because of the hyper-realism, and because of the fact that I play on Switch, it only properly renders whatever I'm like directly staring at. So like if I turn to like the side, then it has to like reload in all the textures so that way it doesn't look like mush. It didn't do that for previous chapters. It definitely didn't do that during OG because everything was a lot more simpler and just looked a lot nicer. This one doesn't. They went for the more realistic angle, and I do not really think it paid off. and it definitely lost all the bright colors that Fortnite should have. So it definitely took a lot away from the map for me because of that. And also, everything kind of looks the same. Like, none of the locations are really, like, unique per se outside of, like, I mean, the Greek and, like, the Underworld ones were really great. But, like, I don't know, you had the Wasteland ones, the locations in there. It was just, like, the big ship, the arena, and, like, the oil rig. I did not like any of those locations at all. So, yeah, map is fine, I guess. I think I'm gonna have to go a 7 out of 10 for map though. So yeah, that's back-to-back 7s. Then we get to the story, which is actually pretty good. You have like the society kidnaps Peelys and the underground, including led by Hope and assisted by our guy Agent Jones, has to go save him. That is done through like a quest storyline, but it's really more like a setup for the next season where Valeria, that's Hope's sister, opens up Pandora's box, hoping to control the world and power and stuff. Accidentally releases all the Greek gods and horrors and all that sort of stuff, leading into the next season. Zeus gets pissed after we're like beating him or whatever at the end of season 2, and then he unleashes the box again, and then starts like the whole wasteland stuff. Megalodon arrives, tries to like conquer everything. He's about to, but Doom stops him so that way he can do it himself. Then we stopped Doom, and now we're going back to chapter 2 for the remix season, you know, which is pretty cool, of course. So that's kind of like the storyline. Again, it's similar to chapter 1, where it's not like a really like, coherent story happening. It's just like events just taking place after each other. It does keep the characters of Jones and Hope, which I guess brings it some consistency, but it just kind of goes over the place though with the actual story that they're trying to tell. So it's like fine, I guess. Then we get to the events. Didn't have any big crazy events. You had the hand event, like the mini ones. Like the sandstorm event was really good. I actually really enjoyed the sandstorm event. I love that one. There's like the big explosion, season 3, season 4, like the Dr. Doom live event with the whole community had to get together to destroy him. That was pretty fun. I remember really liking that one. And then of course, finally, we had the most recent event, which I was really hoping would be great, but it low-key made things worse. I'm not even gonna lie. Did not like it. Not as bad as Fracture, but it was definitely really bad. It was not a good event. It was Fortnite Remix, the Prelude, okay, or the Prelude, whatever you want to call it. It was not great. It was literally just a concert, but it was like live streamed through New York and Times Square. And comparing it to like the Marshmallow concert season 7 where it took place in the game, we were just watching it through a screen. And it was Ice Spice and Snoop Dogg, of course. Okay, that's definitely a choice. And then their musical singing made the butterfly make a rift in the sky, which takes us back to chapter 2. But no, everything is like a musical theme to it, and everything's music-y. Sure, that might as well happen. Just because of that, the story honestly might have been higher. It's just gonna get an 8 out of 10 for story, you know? Like, I mean, it's pretty good storyline, I guess, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So that gives us, for that season, that chapter, it's a total of a 22 out of 30. Wow, okay. So yeah, that's all 5 chapters that we have now gone through, excluding OG, of course. Okay, because we're not doing any of that. So, let's look at the rankings here and see what we got. So in 5th place, the worst chapter of Fortnite. It pains me to do this, but it is in fact chapter 4. Okay, it had 21 out of 30 points. It had some really solid seasons, really good map, but the story sucked, bro, and that really brought it down. So anyway, moving on. 4th place, we got chapter 5 with a 22 out of 30. It had some decent seasons, a decent map, and a pretty good story. You know, it's an okay chapter overall. It's just an okay chapter. Giving it the 4th place. Then 3rd place, now we're in like the big ones here. We're going for chapter 2 with a 23 out of 30. This one was definitely something because it had some okay seasons, pretty bad map, but a really good story that absolutely carried it, okay? easily giving it that 3rd place spot. Then we get to our 2nd place option, which, as you might have already figured out, is Chapter 3 with a 24 out of 30. The seasons were good, the map was good, and the story was good. Really solid season, very good, very consistent the whole way through. I'm sorry guys, I'm like dying right now, I guess. I've been talking for way too long. It's almost been an hour and a half. Damn, bro. Anyway, as you're probably able to predict, of course, the best chapter of Fortnite is Chapter 1 with a 25 out of 30. It had some really good seasons in there, a really good map, and a pretty decent story to go along with it. The best chapter we've had, easily, okay? Well, not easily actually, because they're all 1 point apart, you know? As different as they were for like what they got the points for, they were all really close to each other and how much I liked them, because they were all just 1 point apart in every single scenario there. So yeah, so that is my ranking of all the chapters of Fortnite. Thank you for watching this video. If you want me to like rate or make any other videos like this in the future, I don't know, you can put down some ideas below if you really want to. You don't have to. If you want to argue with me and tell me how stupid I am for my opinions, then you can go ahead and do that. Hope you enjoyed this, and bye!